Love laid bare.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. You are through to another episode of Love Laid Bare, and I'm, of course, your host, Dionne. Guys, I have a really special guest with me today. So the guest I have today is someone I've admired for a very long time. I never thought that, you know, in 10 years time that I would have this person sitting opposite me doing this podcast recording. So I would like to introduce you to Swiss.
How you doing?
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, yeah.
I know I've said it about 1,000 times, but I'm really grateful for you coming down and sitting with me on my platform.
It's so good.
So for those who don't know, because we do have a lot of international listeners as well, Swiss has a very kind of long resume. So I'm just going to paraphrase it and then you can perhaps give us a bit more detail.
Yeah.
So Swiss was a member, still is a member of So Solid?
Yeah, still a member
of So Solid.
We're still active.
He's a DJ, entrepreneur, producer, rapper, and an author. Is there anything else we can add to that?
Father.
And a father.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that's about it. Like in terms of what I do on my platforms, you know, interacting with the public, producing, rapping, DJing. I haven't authored the book for a while. The last book I put out, my first and last, not last, my first book was put out in 2008. It's called Spot the Difference, and it was basically a self-help book. I do have other ideas to do some more. I want to do a new edition of that book itself. I got to do a part 2, and there's some other ideas I got. But yeah, those are mainly like what did you mention? Producing, rapping, DJing, entrepreneur. Yeah, those are the 5 things that, yeah, you know.
So okay, so let's go. Where should we start? Actually, let's start with the book. I know we're kind of going forward to go back, but
yeah, that's fine.
What inspired you to write that book? I feel like you've always, well, from when I've known you, like in the public eye, I guess you've pretty much been conscious for quite a while.
Yeah.
So what was it that inspired you to write that self-help book?
Yeah, conscious just meaning someone that is aware and sensitive to what's going on socially and culturally. And because of the artists that I listened to growing up, I would speak about those things. Okay. You know, because that was what kind of caught my eye when I heard those artists speaking. i.e. Tupac, Lauryn Hill, Nas, and, you know, most of the rappers that were out in the early 90s to mid 90s, you know, I'll say, throughout the 90s, I feel like music was a lot more conscious.
Yes, 100%.
So that's where that comes from. In terms of the book, I wrote it in 2008. At that time, I had learned quite a lot about myself personally, and learned about history, and reached a place where it was kind of after the So Solid period where I had time to reflect on what we had gone through and being put at an advantage to be able to experience things that my community or people in my community hadn't experienced. So I was like, you know, I feel like I've got a lot to say. So let me put it in a book and kind of give all my jewels and wisdom in that form. So that's what I did. And that's where it came from. It's called Spot the Difference. And yeah, it's still available to buy.
On Amazon,
on
guys.
Amazon, yeah.
So again, I feel like even that book, you were, I guess on a cultural level, you were kind of way ahead. Because a lot of the things that you spoke about in the book, some people are only just kind of learning about now.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, there's been, I feel like there's been a bit of a big explosion in terms of, you know, being woke and being conscious and that type of thing. But you were kind of miles ahead, and especially, I guess, you know, where you were coming from. Were people not really expecting that from you, would you say, or?
I feel like they probably would, you know, because of songs like Cry, Broken Silence. People always knew I was the kind of conscious one out of the crew. And my lyrics reflected that, you know, even though I had, you know, different styles or different types of angles which I would speak from, you know, whether it be a road perspective or a conscious perspective or mix both. You know, people knew that I was conscious, so I don't think they were surprised. But, or just maybe a little bit, because you don't really have people that are authors coming from as young as I was at the time and coming from where we come from.
Yeah.
So I think I remember handing it to was it East Connection or Pay As You Go once when I saw them in the EMI studio, and it's like, bro, you wrote a book, yeah? And then looking at the beginning, because in the beginning I break down the number 9.
Yes.
So when people saw that, like, nah, this is deep. All right, cool, yeah, safe, bro, yeah, this is mad, kind of thing. And yeah, so I guess in one degree people were quite surprised, but to some degree I guess it could be expected as well. You know.
Okay. So what's your background? Where are your parents from?
My dad's side of the family is from Barbados. My mum's side is from Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't grow up on my dad's side, so I don't know anything about the Bajan culture in that sense. I haven't gone into, not that I don't know anything about, but I haven't gone into, it's not what I grew up on. But in terms of, you know, my Jamaican culture, that's what I grew up around. My grandma raised me in a household with my aunties and uncles, cousin and brother, and yeah, man, just grew up around Jamaican culture. And then the church I went to as well was also a Jamaican church, Pentecostal, right. AME Zion Church, in Battersea. So yeah. And then obviously when it came to the raves and the music, you know, just Jamaican culture, like, you know what I'm saying, very strong all around London. You know, at the time we were growing up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so
100%. So so growing up in that type of setting then, you know, growing up with your aunts, uncles and your grandma, how do you think that kind of contributed to like who you are today, essentially?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, musically, I was listening to a lot of Luther in my house and a lot of gospel, and a lot of Jamaican bashment music at the time as well. So I feel like musically I had that very deep ties to music that of substance. You know what I'm saying? As I say, through Luther and the gospel. And then, you know, of my generation, listening to bashment and ragga. At the time, we called it dancehall ragga. I don't think we was called bashment back then, but dancehall and ragga.
Yeah.
And so that had a strong influence as well. And I guess the religious element, as I said, I went church. So that kind of gave me a spiritual navigation. You know what I'm saying? Moralistically kind of, you know, gave me, you know, a certain perspective on life. So yeah, I feel like those were probably the main influences off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Unless you can think of something else.
So growing up was it quite a busy household then? Yeah,
it was quite busy, yeah. As I said, my grandma, 2 uncles, aunt, my brother and my cousin. So yeah, you had the different levels of hierarchy. And you know, just old school kind of Jamaican disciplining, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we've spoken about discipline on here before.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
Yeah, I feel like in a lot of our culture, and I'm talking about more general black culture, I feel like we beat our children too much. So we're quick to whether it's a belt, and back then it was like the curtain,
anything that was
available, slipper, curtain. What was the curtain thing called? That wire.
The curtain wire.
Right, come on, man.
Yeah.
That belts, and sometimes you say, go on.
No, I know someone. My cousin got the pot one time.
Is it? Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. And like you know, you was told to go and get it sometimes. You know, go and go get the belt. You know what I'm saying? And you're thinking, I'm about to get licked now. You walk into your discipliner with the belt. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of the pressures, you know, the social pressures, the family pressures, the personal pressures that maybe our parents had gone through, and the generational trauma, they were letting it out on us.
Oh, yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? And unconsciously.
And there's also an element of like learned behaviour.
Exactly.
Because, you know, from the research that I've done, you know, originally in Africa, children were held as highly as the elders were, and this whole kind of like brutality in terms of beating more so came along when colonization happened. And it's just been something that has been, like you say, it's a form of generational trauma that is unconscious, but it's been passed down because that is what we have been taught to do. But historically, that is not how we handle our children. And I think, you know, with a lot of conversations, I do feel like it comes back to, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. And, you know, back then they said that, you know, if a child did wrong, there would be a group of people to actually sit down and speak to that child and make them understand, rather than going straight for the belt or the hand or whatever else, you know?
Because you're also teaching your children how to respond to situations they get into when you're doing that. So they're probably going to respond violently as well. If you respond violently to them as soon as something goes wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, and that's how the behaviour's learnt. Yeah, you know, teaching isn't always orally, it's very much through action as well. You know what I'm saying? So,
100%. And I think a conversation that we had, I had a psychotherapist on, and we had an episode called Spare the Rod, Spoil the Child, and she's written a book about, you know, just trying to kind of dispel the myths, I suppose, attached with physical punishment. And you know, one of the things we kind of spoke about was that, okay, well, if beatings work, then surely we shouldn't have any black people in prison or anything like that. You know, we should all be perfect because the majority of us were actually beaten as children. So but we've covered that, so let's
and just let me add, it's something I've told my mum recently as well. She doesn't beat my daughter or anything, but it's the way how she kind of comes at her sometimes. On that, mum, that old school way, you don't need to do it like that no more. Do you get what I'm saying? When she gets in trouble with us, we speak to her in a way where, you know, we try to make her understand what she's done wrong, and the approach is a bit more subtle.
Yes.
So we can get a communicative kind of dialogue going on. She hears what we got to say, we hear what she's got to say, and then we come to some sort of resolution. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, sometimes you've got to be hard on them, but the first thing can't always be
the hand.
Hard and strong. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be communicative.
Yeah. No, 100%. So, okay, so when I contacted Swiss about doing this podcast, one of the main things I wanted to kind of talk about was his track Cry. Came out 2005?
Yeah, 2005, yeah.
And for me, that track has so many layers, and I feel like I could probably sit here with you for 4 hours, but we don't have that long to kind of break down the track. But I do want to just kind of go through it and just kind of address a few things, because like I was saying to you off air, that track is timeless, because actually nothing much has changed in terms of like culturally anyway, you know, particularly in London, and we're seeing it kind of spread outwards into other major cities across the UK. Like there's even a bit where you talk about, you know, the government said that they would put
direct funds. Yeah.
And really, you know, all the professionals I speak to in social services, you know, youth practitioners and that type of thing, everyone is still complaining about funding. It's still kind of, it's still there. So if you could just do this for me, can we just like wrap the beginning and then just kind of like get
so it's like I swear it was like around the times when things are going well, when we had to pack guns and Asher went jail, and then I cried. Couple months down the line, me and Morgs thinking about my nigga doing mad time and his mums. Then I hugged her. I don't know how it came around like this. Then she looked and said, look after the album, Swiss, and make sure that you learn something out of this. And the thought of it makes me wanna cry, cause that's her only son. Take away a boy from his mother, that's a lonely mum. Protect yourself with a loaded guns, just one of the rules, and Asher weren't the only one. So for the fact that it's nothing fun when a nigga's trying to put 6 in your gut and run. No, I don't want to be another bum. There's another million niggas like me in another slum. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of, you know, the first 30, 40 seconds of the song. And when I perform it, I actually don't use the word nigger anymore. That's the first thing I want to address. Yeah, because
You spoke about that in your track, nigga,
I
didn't
did.
you?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, man. I don't use that word no more. I try not to use it because for obvious reasons. You know what I'm saying? It's quite um, it's a word that's neither here nor there. It's a very very what word? Very explosive word that can be thrown about, you know, and has different definitions depending on who's using it and what you're saying. And I kind of just don't want to. I just reached the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm not using that word no more. So I choose to use the word brother in replace of nigger when I perform. But I'm not too reprimanding about it with myself because, you know, if I feel to use it, like now, I'll use it. Do you understand? Because that's how I wrote it at the time. If I'm acting something that is, you know, something that's done in the past, you're gonna try and represent it as strongly or as real as it was then. So sometimes I do that. Like when I was we'll probably get onto nigger, but when I was the song nigger that I wrote, when I was performing, when I was putting that song out, I was doing a documentary, and which I didn't get finished, but I mentioned at the time that, you know, for the first time I chose to use the word nigger again when I performed the song Rap This, which is what most people know me from when I first came out as a rapper. When I say niggas want to test SO, that's a no. I'm a DJ, but I heat up mics when I flow. You get me?
Yeah.
I felt to myself, I had to use the word because brothers want to, like, it didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So the word has a certain oomph to it that, you know, in order to get your point across, you know, you need to use it sometimes, or I need to use it sometimes, because at the time that's where my mentality was at, you know what I'm saying? And there's no other word that can replace that can make what I'm saying as impactful as it was when I first wrote it. So, you know, I choose to use it sometimes within context.
In the track nigger, you actually do refer to the word nigger as a curse.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to... should we go there? Look, let's just do it now.
Okay.
Now, when you said that, I was like, for real. Now people understand me when I say this. For me anyway, when we say curse, we're not talking about like a hex type thing, but words carry frequencies. Okay, so everyone will hear nigger and maybe hear and feel different things, but I think by and large we all understand the deep-rooted historical meaning behind the word.
Some don't. I think we take that for granted. I don't think everyone does. Some people use it, and they understand what it's associated with, but because they haven't read into it or looked into it enough themselves, it doesn't mean the same as it would for an older generation.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, so... And that happens with lots of words in lots of languages. They change meaning over time. It's like clay. It doesn't always mean one thing. It gets remolded. So, but because there's so much emotional attachment to that word, people are not able to see it in that way. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of young people use it now, and it means brother, it means mate, it means friend. They use it with their white friends. You know what I'm saying? And I remember interviewing 2 rappers, and I asked them, what if your white brethren used it? And they was like, nah, but my white brethren are my niggas though. Do you get what I'm saying? But the white person can't use it like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Because, and I feel like there does need to be boundaries
absolutely.
of that sort, because if there's anything that we can take from the trauma that we've gone through over so many years, it's that word. Do you get what I'm saying? Let us have that, and let us be able to say who cannot use it. You know what I'm saying? And that's about us taking back some sort of power. You know, in some form of way. So yeah, it's just like the overweight person that's getting bullied in the playground. Do you get what I'm saying? And they're always been called fat. And one day they're like, what? I am fat. You get me? And then all of a sudden it just, the energy gets taken out of that, or out of that slur, or out of that curse now. And they own that word. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's the same thing.
Is there any, do you see a difference between the spelling of the word nigger, as in Nigga to Niggeer? Because I noticed that in your song, the title is Nigger. feel like nigga spell Nigga has more of a softer feel to it, perhaps? Because
I feel like
yeah. Sorry, I know. I kind of felt like when I heard the song and I saw the title, it
and you see some of the white guys back in it.
Yeah, it kind of like it cut a little bit more.
Deeper. Yeah. And I think again because that was the original. Well, it wasn't the original spelling, but it was one of the foundational spellings at the time when it was being used against us in propaganda, in newspapers, all forms of media. Basically, that's the spelling that was used.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And the Nigga comes from that change in meaning. Do you get what I'm saying? That's where the spelling comes from. Tupac says, "Never ignorant, getting goals achieved." I think that's the meaning he put on it. That's another take on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, it's all about taking back power and flipping. Taking back power and flipping. You know, with that sort of kind of when slurs are used against people, they kind of appropriate it themselves and change the meaning. You know what I'm saying? The same way bitch was used against women. Now they call themselves, hey
bad
bitch,
bad
bitch,
yeah.
or whatever. So many different ways. And it's the same thing with nigger. It's used in so many different ways in conversation. Only the people that use it within that community understand the nuance in how it's being used. It's only when someone outside uses it and you're like, what's this guy on? Like, what's he? Like, you're not in, you don't know like that. You can't be using the word like that. Do you get what I'm saying? And again, that's part of the power. Same thing with fag, with the gay community, and I guess other words as well.
Yeah.
You know, take your pick. But I forgot the original question. Yeah, so I feel like nigga, Nigga, does have a different meaning, and it is a bit of a softer meaning as well, because that's the meaning that has the definition of friend.
Yes.
And is used amongst the hip hop community mainly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas the other version is the one used against us to put us down and oppress us.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right.
Do you think I should have used that version?
No. Like I said, I feel like the message came across better with the spelling that you used. But I was just wondering whether you knew what you were doing, if that makes sense.
No, I did, definitely. I didn't want to use the Nigga because it wasn't, it wasn't part of what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So let's go back to Cry. So when I listened to that song, there's a few things that kind of like come at me. And I feel like one of the main underlying themes in that song is fear. So, the beginning of the track, you talk about the fact that, you lot had to kind of keep yourself strapped because, there was a lot of people coming at you and whatnot. How was life for you guys as a crew back then?
Yeah, I guess it was bittersweet. Cliche term, but like, the fame, the success and stuff like that was all good. But still being in the hood and having to deal with people that don't like you. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, so for instance, Junction and Brixton have always had problems. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah? So, gang problems, like much like it is today, but not as brutal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, when So Solid guys from Junction had and done our thing, I felt like we got a certain energy from Brixton. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
That was like a bit of hate. You get what I'm saying? Like, they already probably hated us, but even more so now. Like, raw. But loved us at the same time. Like, they will be at man's raves.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Bittersweet, because it's like you love man, but at the same time, you're side Iron Man or you're red Iron Man. Do you understand? And that beef didn't basically change. That beef just transitioned because it's not like people made friends. Do you get what I'm saying? That beef was there, lingering, and I guess it just became more apparent now that we were successful and probably spread to other places as well.
Yeah.
So because we had come from living an estate life, we understood, the pressures and the repercussions of what it meant when you become successful. Now you're driving nice cars and you got jewelry on. So we kind of just kept that same estate mentality where we would huddle together, protect ourselves, make sure everyone was good, and done whatever we had to do to look after ourselves. Do you get what I'm saying? But it was always protection. It was never attack. It was always defense.
Defense, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
So I guess once you guys had kind of like made it into the mainstream, I guess it would have been imperative to try and keep things away as much as possible, because the last thing that you want is for there to, well, I guess there were a couple of things that did kind of go down, I guess, but that made it into public eye. But the idea would have just been to try and keep things kind of at bay as much as you can. Like I remember seeing So Solid as a not everybody, but I remember like back in the day, like I'd go to raves and I would see you guys just out. But so you were on the kind of raving scene, but this was like before you lot kind of bust, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
And I always remember thinking like, well, I hope these guys kind of make it, because you lot were big on the gamma scene. Do you know what I mean? Underground you were. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think, where was I one time? I remember I saw Lisa Mathis. She had like blue hair, and it was just a nice chilled atmosphere. But then Garage just kind of took a left turn suddenly. Because Garage used to be a very kind of just like bubbly, have fun, it was all nice. And then I feel like when Pay As You Go came onto the scene, I feel like that's when I love Pay As You Go, by the way. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's when it went a little bit left when the East guys got involved. But so for you, like on an individual level, day to day, having that constant fear of being attacked or what have you, what does that do to the psyche of a young black male in London?
It puts you on defense and survival mode, I guess. And when you're in survival mode, you're not thinking rationally. So you're gonna do things that basically you wouldn't do in your normal state of mind. Do you know what I'm saying? Things that might put you in a negative situation, like getting into, a madness on road, or going to jail, or do you get what I'm saying? Because you're just thinking about survival. So to put it in a blanket way, it just puts you in survival mode. Do you get what I'm saying? And will cause you to want to do things like protect yourself or maybe attack. Do you understand? Like, for instance, let's give it a real scenario. Like Asha, you got caught with a gun in central London. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? That wasn't rational. What are you doing in central London with a strap? Yeah. But he's coming from South London, travelling to Central. It's so normal for him to have that thing on him that he wasn't even thinking, I'm in Central London, have an argument with a parking attendant, said the wrong thing, my man's got digi, and he's called the police, and then you've got arrested. Oh shit, the straps, it's in his girlfriend's bag. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like things like that, basically, to put it in a real scenario.
Do you think that when you're kind of in that place, and let's just say you're strapped, for example, do you think that sometimes there's an energy that you're carrying with you at the same time? Do you know what I mean? Because
it definitely is frequency. Definitely, it's definitely like a bad boy frequency, like within that whole road, and not everyone's in there. But when you're in there, it's not a nice feeling. You get me? It's very like, again, survival mode, protective, looking. You almost feel like everything that passes you got to make sure you're good. Do you understand? You got to make sure, before you park here, you're looking. Do you understand? The reason why people have tinted windows is protection. Do you get what I'm saying? That mentality, that survival mentality is just, it eats away at you. Do you understand? Because you may not think so at the time, but after doing it for so many years and you speak to normal people, you realise that you're not living normal. It's not normal. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's not normal. So, there is a certain frequency that comes with it. You understand? And it's not productive. It's not productive because as you get older, you want to have children. As you get older, you want to go to here, there, and everywhere. You want to go to family functions, and you don't want to feel like you're putting people in danger.
Yeah.
You get me? You don't want to feel like you have to act a certain way around the people that are normal in your family. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's very isolating. You may even start to segregate yourself even more, and the huddle of people that you're around are only people that are within that culture as well. Do you understand? So it becomes more and more isolating, and it has a negative effect on your mental health. You know what I'm saying?
In the track, you speak about the fact that you had an addiction to weed.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Now,
when I was listening to it this morning on my way here, because as I said, I'd listened to the song to get myself in. When I heard that bit, I was thinking, right, that sounds a bit strong, Swiss. Did you? But at the time, I was facts.
But the thing is, it's facts though, because at the end of the day, like I was saying to you off air, and as my listeners already know, the whole point of this platform is to get Black people in particular to actually acknowledge the fact that they have traumas and to try and do something about it. Now, I think as a culture, we tend to try and self-medicate, and weed is absolutely okay. Do you know what I mean? Like weed isn't demonized.
It's normalized.
Okay, so I feel like with a lot of people that are probably on the road, and how else are you supposed to free yourself? How?
And weed is one of those things, and you rely on it. It just becomes again, and it's another one of those things where, if I'm going to my man's yard, can I bill up there though? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I'm going to this family function, what will they let man bun there? Do you get what I'm saying? Your whole life kind of revolves around the weed. That's another thing that is a trap.
Yeah.
You get me? And you see people, man, and you see the effect that weed has in the hood. You know, I used to sell weed myself. You know, you see the effect that it has. It draws people's faces in. Their skin loses a layer of colour. They start to look a bit more dull.
Yes.
They look very slim. The hair might be brittle. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, this is after years of bunning. And these people don't notice this. You know, they go into a room, you can smell the weed stinking, dripping off them. Their teeth are more yellow now. And do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like we're in this this state of sickness is normalized.
Yes.
Because if you really think about it, you're sick.
You're sick.
Do you get what I'm saying? But it's normalized because of the culture that we've acquired or attained. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's self-medication because of the trauma that we're going through sometimes. And we're possibly using it in the wrong way.
100%, because I'm not even going to sit here and say that I think weed is a bad thing.
It's not.
I think maybe we might be smoking in excess. You know, the actual quality of the product that we're getting isn't what, you know, we were smoking
Back
in Jamaica
yards,
40 years.
Africa,
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not the same thing, you know.
We wasn't mixing tobacco with it. And maybe we wasn't burning it like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's so many different ways you can take it.
Yeah.
It can be a drink. You know what I'm saying? What's the other ways? It could be an oil where you could put it into your skin. And when you start using it in those ways, you realize that it has a different effect. And it can be medicinal in a in a more effective way. Yeah, it can be medicinal.
The UK's making a lot of money right now.
There you go. Off of the cannabis oil. So yeah, you know, it can cure cancer. It can deplete. I wouldn't say cure. It depletes cancer cells. Do you get what I'm saying? And other things like pain as well. CBD is good for pain, bodily pain. It's good for, you know, getting you to sleep if you suffer from insomnia, because it will kind of slow you down. And you know what I'm saying?
Makes a beautiful tea.
Makes a beautiful tea. So there's so many ways. There's so many ways it can be used. We just learnt the wrong way.
Yeah.
And we took advantage. We went down that road and took advantage of the wrong way for so long that it's become normalized. And you know what I'm saying? It's having this effect on us now. But yeah, self-medication. Self-medication. When you're going through things like, you know, the gang culture, you know, and, you know, you're in situations that, you know, where your anxiety's up, you're in that fight or flight mode. That's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
The fight or flight mode, you're constantly in that. Do you know what I'm saying? You need a natural way to bring you back down. And that's what the weed does.
Because your body, I guess, is in... Because your body's in a constant state of stress. So it's like your adrenaline's always kind of pumping.
Exactly.
And that's going to wreak havoc on your health anyway.
Exactly, because the cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a hormone called cortisol, which is part of that secreted when you're in that fight or flight
Mm-hmm.
mode, and your body's only supposed to secrete that
when you're running from a lion or a
when
bear.
you're a real danger.
Yeah.
Exactly, in a real and present danger, which is what the response of fear is actually there for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you're in fear when you're just in your yard, like, it's not being used for the right reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The fear's being overused, it's being magnified, and the cortisol's being secreted, and it's going to have a negative effect on your brain and your body. And also just pointing back to the weed again, the schizophrenia, the paranoia. Do you get what I'm saying? When you speak to people, like, they're constantly paranoid. So when you mix the gang culture with the drugs as well, the paranoia heightens. And again, the mental health effects are dangerous.
100%. I mean, my mum, she's a registered manager for a home for men who primarily have schizophrenia and mental health issues as a result of cannabis use.
There you go.
So it's like she sees the end result of years of abuse. Because the thing is, there are some people that can smoke weed for their whole lives and mentally they might be okay. But everybody is different. Everyone responds to stress and trauma differently. You know, self-medicating is good to a certain extent, I guess, but we need to kind of learn how and when to pull it back. So how did you manage to get into a space where you could actually acknowledge, because the fact that you acknowledged that I've got an addiction to weed, how did you come to that realization? How did you pull yourself back?
I just realized I was relying on it too much, and I realized, you know, you're smoking it too much, and it's also the money that you're spending as well. That's another you know, pointer towards, you know, coming to a self-realization about the addiction, because you're thinking, hold on, I'm calling my man all the time, my man's getting bare my money, or the way how you, fam, where are you? All right, well, how long is it gonna be? Oh fuck, man, I need weed now. Like, do you understand? It's that whole kind of mentality and response to certain situations and scenarios that self-awareness comes where you think, nah, that was a bit cattish though. Like, why am I moving like that?
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I think the realization comes through little situations like that, and I don't know. You just look at how it's affecting you. You can't go bed without a zoot. You can't wake up without a zoot. Wake and bake. It's become normal now. Wake and bake. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
You're bunning as soon as you wake up. Do you understand? And that's not associated with productivity. Because if you're bunning as soon as you wake up, what job do you have, bro? If you're bunning as soon as you wake up, what productivity, what positive things are you bringing back to the table at the end of the day if you're bunning as soon as you wake up? Do you know what I'm saying? It's not productive. Unless you do, you know what I'm saying, painting and decorating in a environment where, you know, the couple rushes about.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the normal thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's not productive, man. So, yeah, you know, I noticed by how I was responding to certain situations, you know what I'm saying, in ways which I was going about ways which I was waiting or trying to get the weed sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Love, laid, bare.
So how did you kind of like?
Yeah. So how did I start smoking? I reached a point because I was struggling with it for years, and that's another thing. A lot of people don't want to be bunning, and that's how you know it's an addiction. An addiction, a simple definition of addiction, is something that you can't stop doing. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's just something you can't stop doing. You're addicted to it. So whether that's, you know, 3 sugars in your breakfast and you can't do without that, 5 teaspoons teaspoons in your tea or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't stop doing it. So you're addicted. So for me, I realized that I couldn't stop, and that no one likes, no matter who you are, you don't like something to have control of you. Whether it's a girlfriend, whether it's, there's reaches a certain age where you feel like you need a certain autonomy over your life. Like, I should be in control. Why is this thing controlling me?
Yeah.
Why am I calling my man at 1 a.m? You get me? You can't get it, and I'm like, shit, where can I go? Fam, where can I get weed right now? Like, that's not really That's not showing that you have control of yourself. So it reached those peak times. So there was a time where I was struggling with it for maybe a good few years, and then I met this sister that gave me one book that was called The Mind Scroll. And when I read that book, it's got me off weed straight away.
Wow.
And it wasn't a, stop smoking book. It was just a book that showed me how powerful my mind was.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what the book empowered me. You know what I'm saying? To look at myself and be like, listen, man, what you have in your head is powerful. If only you can realize it. And the book just helped me realize how powerful my mind was. And after that, I think that was the start of my journey.
Wow.
To stopping smoking weed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I'm grateful for that woman for giving me that book. Yeah.
The Mind Scroll. I'm going to have a look for that.
Yeah.
If we go back, so in the song, when I say go back, I'm talking about going back in years. In the song, you talk about, a lot of friends, for example, light-skinned Simon from Surrey Lane fell down the track.
Yes.
Body got severed by the train.
Yeah.
As a young person growing up and, even approaching your late teens into your early 20s and seeing your friends die, bury your friends. Again, you even talk about...
Wayne as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider in that song as well. Yeah. Who's known as Muhammad. Yeah.
What did that do to you?
Well, basically, with Simon now, the thing with Simon is that me, myself, Simon, and my brethren Neville were hanging around together a lot at that time, and we used to surf trains. So that was the period when the train surfing thing...
I see.
Yeah, that was the period when the train surfing thing was a normal thing.
Okay.
You get me? Be on the platform. As the train's going off, you'll jump on and hang on. There used to be these bars.
Yes, at the back.
You hang on, and not even the back, or even by the doors as well. Because it weren't just the back, it was by the doors.
And then the old
school trains,
yes.
There'll be these bars and a little step things. So you hold on, and it's just going. And you surf the train for a bit, and then, you'll just know when to jump off. You get what I'm saying? So we was doing that at the time. And then there was one time I was at football training, a few weeks later, and I heard Simon died. And he died from surfing the train. And I was like, fuck, I was just doing that with Simon like just the other day, a few weeks back. And that hit me. And I was like, I'm not doing that again. And two, life is real. Like, do you get what I'm saying? You can it's one of those moments where you feel like, we done something fun but dangerous where someone lost their life, like someone that I know. And from then, I just stopped doing that. So that impacted me quite a lot.
How did you... So how old were you at the time, would you say?
11.
Wow.
11, something
I
like
didn't
that.
even realize. I just assumed that you were maybe like, I don't know, 14, 15.
Yeah, no. I think it was about 11.
So how do you process that 11? How?
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. Because I didn't know Simon for that long at the time, yeah? Because at that time, but we became close quickly. Because Simon lived in Surrey Lane and I lived in Kumbala. They're not really far from each other, but when you're young like that,
yeah,
it is far.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, and Neville was our mutual friend.
Okay.
Neville lived on Kumbala, but he knew Simon, and then we just started hanging. But one thing that I never forget is that Simon borrowed me his Sega Master System 1. The first Master System. He didn't even know me that well. You get what I'm saying? But I didn't have a computer at the time. You get me? And when we was talking about it, it's like, yeah, I'll borrow you it, man. Like 2 days, innit? I remember though, the plug of his Sega didn't have the top pin.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, you just got to use something to push the thing in and then you can plug it in. And that was my first time having that experience. Like, okay, it worked, yeah. So, I never forget that, he's a very good-hearted person for that. The fact that he borrowed me his Sega Master System. Didn't even know me that
That's
long.
a big deal.
That's a big deal. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a big deal. So
Who's saying he was leaving the house if you're not going with it? You know what I
do
mean?
you get what I'm saying? So he borrowed me, and that always stayed with me. And as I said, we was hanging around a lot at the time. And then when that happened, it was just a shock. It was just a shock because, you know, mind you, I had been to funerals because I grew up in church, as I said, with a lot of elder Jamaicans. So I feel like the first death that hit me the most was a lady called Sister Brown, and she used to make peanut drops for us.
Oh,
in
peanut
church.
drops. Yeah.
If anyone's Jamaican or Caribbean, you know about peanut drops. She made the illest peanut drops, and she was just such a open. Like most of the elders were quite strict in the church, but Sister Brown was that one person you can go to that was just a bit more calm and light-hearted and you know, kind of a bit more open. So she died when I was quite young. I can't remember what age, but I think probably, I can't even remember, but 7, 8, you get me? And we went to her funeral. So boom, I'm seeing you alive, and then boom, I'm seeing you in dead. I'm seeing you dead in the coffin, you know, dressed up and that with your gloves on, looking shriveled, and I'm thinking, bro, that was very traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? Because of how good she was to us, and then the fact that she had passed away, and then having to go to her funeral. But I guess that kind of I don't know what word to use, for lack of a better phrase, geared me up for death in general in life. Do you get what I'm saying? So and obviously being young and being in a church where there's lots of elder Caribbeans, you're gonna get deaths that are happening eventually. So yeah, Sister Brown was one of the first ones that was very traumatizing. And with Simon, no one had really died that was our age. Do you get what I'm saying? So that was just raw, like it's real. You know what I'm saying? Basically.
Do you think that, you know, with some of the deaths that you experience as a young person, do you think that kind of maybe forced you to mentally grow up quicker than you ordinarily may have had to?
I guess so. It does. It does. Emotionally, I guess you can either go one of two ways. You can emotionally mature, or it can kind of stunt your emotional growth a bit. Do you know what I'm saying? And make you go in on yourself. But Simon dying, then Wayne Pinedo dying as well. He was also from Surrey Lane, Wayne, and he died by being hit by a car when he was on his moped.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mentioned Wayne in the song as well as Simon, and that was a death as well that kind of hit Battersea quite hard as well because he was young. And then Spider as well, Muhammad. Him and Wayne were actually good friends.
Really?
Wayne and Spider were actually good friends, and you know we used to go up. Spider's originally from Battersea, but they moved to Roehampton, and in the Roehampton days when I was going up there with my brethren Neville, this is like when we're older now, a little bit older, going up Roehampton, you know, when you're kind of just venturing out, going to different areas now, you know, Wayne and Spider were people that we were kind of around, and they both had died within short periods of years space. I don't know how short it was, but yeah, it was kind of like another death. It may not have been even short, but it was just another death that hit home because they knew each other and because everyone knew them. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, again, it just it does make you emotionally mature because it just brings you back down to earth and back down to reality about your mortality. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah.
Do you, when you're in a position where you're having to constantly protect yourself, does your relationship with your mortality change? Do you kind of get to a point where you're like, boy, if it happens, it happens, or do you eventually start to relax about it, or are you always still like?
Yeah, I think you probably do, you know, start to relax about it. You've got no other choice. You get me? You're out here, innit? So you've got no other choice, you know. Your family live in the area, you live in the area. The foundation of your upbringing is in the place where you're at. So yeah, I guess you do get used to it. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, no.
The line in the track, I think it's the second verse where you talk to come with second or third verse, you're like, look at what the summer done. Couple shootouts, niggas dead over something
Something
dumb.
done, yeah.
I think we were saying off air as well, like I remember back in like the early to mid 2000s where gun crime just went off the scale, particularly at raves. And I remember that was a time when a lot of clubs were getting shut down, certain raves couldn't go on, certain DJs couldn't be playing out and stuff like that. So every time, for example, I'd go out, say I'm going Coliseum or whatever, and there's a big lineup kind of thing. There was always a bit of anxiety.
Where there's a big lineup, you know everyone's coming.
Right. And there was always a bit of anxiety, like, what's gonna
happen there?
Now, I'm not even in anyone's firing line. I'm just coming out to rave. So for you guys going out as a collective and essentially going out to work, because it's not like you're there necessarily just there to rave. Like most time you'll have been booked. So how did you not gear yourself up for that? Particularly if you're in raves in South London. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, most of those big lineups were probably booked for. The only promoters that didn't book us was Exposure. McMahon? He was the promoter for Exposure. He didn't ever want to book us. But man was on most of the big lineups, and whenever we went there, we just making sure that everyone was good, man. We knew we was going into a place where possibly something can happen, so we just make sure that we was okay. You get me? We just make sure that, you know, once you're booked for somewhere, it's already like, okay, when you get to the door, security's there.
Yeah.
They make sure security's to a certain level, whatever, as well. You get me? So on a you know, public protection level, the security's there, and then, you know, personally, we're gonna make sure that we're good. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the more bigger we got, the more professional it was.
Okay.
You get me? You know, there were times where there wasn't no back room to go to. Like Coliseum, there's no back room to go to.
I mean, I don't know.
There wasn't.
I'm a mere civilian, so I don't know.
I mean, there's the office, but I don't remember there being any back room to go to. You go in the rave, you go past where they pay the tickets, you go upstairs, and you're in the rave.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The stage is there. When it's your turn, you go up, boom, boom, boom. There wasn't no back way to go to, so, you know, you just make sure you're good. But it wasn't like, I don't remember it being on in a sense where, as soon as we walk in the rave, man's enemy's there and something's going to kick off straight away. They're going
to wait until you lot.
They're going to wait, yeah, exactly.
Have a good time.
There you go. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember it ever being like that, to be honest. But, you know, precaution wise, you know, you just have to make sure you're good. You get me? Because anything can happen.
Yeah.
You get me? You're the main attraction. You're the target. You get me? You're Mega Man. You're Neutrino. You're Swiss. You're Romeo. You're Harvey. You're Lisa. You're G-Man. So, you know, you're known.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to make sure you're okay, man. So, but yeah, again, as I say, it just wasn't, because obviously you got to travel to get to the rave. You know what I'm saying? So
and you got to get home too.
You got to travel to get to the rave. You got to get home. You're parking. Sometimes, remember, there's cars everywhere. Where are you parking? You might have to park somewhere that's very, like, not a nice place to park. In terms of you're enclosed. You're looking around, seeing, you know, anyone can pop out from anywhere and do anything. So, you know, all those type of things, man. It's just, again, it just goes back to that whole survival mentality that it's just a not good place mentally to be in. You get me? But nevertheless, because you grow up in that and you're part of it, it's kind of normalized. It's your normal thing. It's only as you get older when it's like, I don't want to be doing this no more, really and truly. You get me?
Do you have, was there ever a point where you look back in hindsight and kind of felt like, oh, why did I do that? Would you change the past in any way? Because, well, I guess you wouldn't be here you are today.
I guess so. There's little things I would probably wouldn't like to have happened. But ultimately, you know, it's grown us into the people that we are. So, yeah. I mean, circumstances, whatever circumstances you're in are going to breed certain experiences. And if, I'll probably change maybe certain circumstances, and the circumstances would change the experiences. You get me? But generally, this is how it was supposed to be, innit? Otherwise, it wouldn't be. So it is what it is, as they say.
Yeah.
Everything is everything. It is what it is. And, you learn and you move on. And the more I get older, I'm just accepting. I'm more accepting of what's kind of going on. Not accepting in a way of, I'm not going to do anything about what's going on.
Yeah.
I can always do something, but I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. Or I'm not going to allow certain scenarios and situations to overpower me as they did before. Because as you become emotionally mature, hopefully, you get stronger in that way. That should be your mentality as an adult. Things shouldn't kick you down so easily anymore. You have to be strong.
Yeah.
You get me? You have to be. Especially if you've got children, you've got youngers, you've got family now, your parents are older. You've got to play that role now. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to be strong, man.
Speaking of strength and I guess emotional intelligence, when you wrote the song Cry, were you there? Would you say that you were kind of like emotionally intelligent? Because the thing is, like, and I think, like I said to you probably in my emails off air, like, I don't feel like anyone has really done a track like that where you're kind of like, because masculinity, especially for black men, is like, is paramount. So for you to openly speak about, like, to call your track Cry. And literally, like, every few bars or whatever, cry. And, it was, I feel like it was a major outlet for a lot of people that couldn't cry.
True, yeah, I didn't look at it like that.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I didn't look at it like that. Yeah. Now that I think about how much love that song gets and how much people say it impacted them, you saying that has kind of made me think, you know what, maybe it was that for them. Do you understand? Because, and that's what music's about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what music's about. It's about you being able to express things that people don't know they can express or haven't expressed before and want to. You know what I'm saying? And if that song done that for us at the time, then it even means more to me now. Now that you said that, because I didn't even think of it like that.
Really?
No, I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it as it representing something that people were suppressing, an emotion they were suppressing and were able to let out through that song. No, I didn't think of it like that. I just thought you felt the track, like you felt what I was saying. That's more my thing. Like, you felt what I was saying, and I was able to, put things together that allowed you to experience the song in a relatable way, but not that it was maybe an outlet for.
Listen, 100%.
No, not at all. That's the first time I've actually thought of it like that.
Honestly, 100%. Like that, and that's what I said to you. Like, I don't even know if you really know, like, that song is like, it hits differently on so many levels. Because the thing is, like I said, like you address so many things. Like, I think, what is the best line of the song?
Ooh, that's a good question. The Stephen Lawrence line is a strong one. I wouldn't say best, but maybe one of the more impactful ones. But yeah, I don't change colour, but they call me a coloured man is probably the best one, because that's the one that people are like, oh shit, yeah. I didn't think of it like that, but it's a very, what makes it good is the combination of lyricism it has because of the structure of that line. I don't change colour, but you call me a coloured man, and the fact of the emotional undertone of it, because it's talking about the black experience and what we've been through in terms of receiving, slurs and negative language about our colour. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's that double thing there that makes it such a powerful line.
Look what happened to the motherland. They don't want to see blacks the same as another man.
And that's I think that whole section of that song right there, because I think that's all in one pot. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't change colour, but they call me a coloured man. Yeah, look what happened to the motherland. They don't want to treat blacks the same as another man.
And just because our skin's different colour.
And I don't. Yeah, exactly.
Colour, but they call me a coloured man.
Yeah, so yeah, man.
Like that section right there. It's. I mean, I even Bashi quoted it.
Yeah, exactly. When I heard cry, I could have cried. Look what happened to the motherland. They don't want to treat blacks the same as another man. Yeah, man.
So, as we're on that topic, race relations haven't really improved since she wrote that track, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, since Stephen Lawrence, I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, he wasn't murdered by the police. However, we all know what happened with that story. We've had Duggan not too long ago.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So,
and then other people that have been in custody of the police, black people that have died as well.
So, where do you think race relations are going right now? Where do you think we're headed? Can you see any improvement? Did you think in 2005 that in 2019 there actually wouldn't have been much change at all?
Yeah, probably not. No, I probably didn't, because there is no positive conclusion to that song. when you get to the end of the song, I'm saying this is how I'm gonna live till I'm not here no more. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, so the place that I'm in is like I don't see an optimistic future about what we're in right now. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, so no, I probably didn't think anything was gonna change much.
So I'm kind of thinking maybe we could do like a 2020 remix with like a positive ending. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because the thing is, you know, words have so much power and frequency, and for how hard that track hits, imagine if you put, because I didn't even think about it like that. I didn't think, oh, you know, there isn't really anything positive at the end. I never really saw it like that, but actually, maybe we could do a 2020 remix and do it like a little positive end, and then actually in the next 15 years,
things will change.
Things will change.
If the song was that impactful, then maybe it can have a positive, you know, impact and for change. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I've been asked. You know, on a serious note, I've been asked many times, like, you know, you should re-release it, do a remix. And I'm thinking to do something because next year will be the 15th anniversary of it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say much because I want to leave the kind of suspense for the impact.
Yes.
You know, but I'm thinking to do something, you know, around it, whether it be a show or something to honour the legacy of the song. Yeah, honour. That would be great.
Okay, all jokes aside, do you really get it? Like, the song, yeah. Like, I don't know if you're just being modest or what, but like,
yeah. I mean, you know what it is? Maybe not. You know, because I'm the bearer of the song. I'm the one that wrote it, innit? So
yeah.
I don't. Sometimes I will listen to it. I don't listen to it much, but sometimes I'll turn it on and be like, this song is powerful, you know.
Very.
You know what I'm saying? And I still get it up till today. Like Grime Daily posted it on their Instagram the other day. It might have like 45,000 views now, and it's the comments. When you look at the comments, read the comments, you know, people still hold that track in high esteem as a product of the UK rap scene, but also as a product of an emotional representation of the black experience in the UK.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I do feel the impact of how people kind of, or I do, you know, get a secondhand experience of how the people have received it. But it's always hard to, if you're the person that has written it. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, but I can say at the time when I wrote it, it took me about a month to write that.
Oh, really?
Because there was one time I was listening to an interview, yeah, and Method Man was like, I think someone asked him, what would you advise rappers? He was like, man, take time with your lyrics, man. You get me? If it's not coming out straight away, take your time with it. There's no rush. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's something that I applied to that song. I said to myself, when I wrote, because I was creating, on the album, I've got a few songs that have that sample-based element to it, you know, because at the time that was the kind of big influence in hip hop at the time, the sample bass thing, speeding up old soul vocals and that. So there's a few songs I had there, and I created a couple songs at Paris Yard, which is the producer that doesn't get the credit for the song, but white guy from Fulton Heath, a guy called Para, garage producer, but also made hip hop as well.
Okay.
And he's the one that gave me most of that sample based stuff on that album.
Right.
Yeah, so big up Para. He doesn't get mentioned enough for the song. But when I had finished the song, he put on Cry, and I was like, this song's... This is at the end of the session where I'm ready to leave now. My brethren's outside. Bro, come outside, I'm ready to leave. He's come in the yard, and I'm like... I wrote the first 6 lines. I'll tell you what I wrote up to. I swear it was like around the time... I think I got up to Asher's bit, and I had to phone him. I said, Asher, are you your mum's only son? He was like, yeah. And then that's when I was like, okay, cool, yeah, that's that bit, you know what I'm saying? And then I stopped there, took it home, and then after a month, I had written everything.
Okay.
Came back, recorded it, or maybe not written everything, written a big majority of it, came back, recorded more, took it home, wrote the rest, and then when I came back, after listening to what I had performed, I was like, nah, I don't like the way I'm performing that. So I kind of went back in and re-recorded a lot of it.
Okay.
But this is probably the first time I'm sharing this story. Re-recorded everything, or majority of it, so it had the emotional impact.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And then after I got that impact, like I probably stayed at Paris Yard for most of the day to get that song where it needed to be. And then by the end of it, I was like, yeah, I was happy with the product. And then, you know, when it came out, once Mega went on to Choice FM, played it on 279 show.
Oh, okay.
And that's when 279 fell in love with it.
Wow.
And it started this journey.
So you shot 2 videos for that, didn't you?
No, 1. And that's something I'm thinking about now for the anniversary.
Oh.
But yeah, 1 video, which is the chorus version. So Cry Never always had a chorus on it. And even in the song, it says, I don't even need the chorus. It's the type of number that I dedicate to Stephen Lawrence. But because the tune was so popular, I had been advised by 1 or 2 people, get a chorus on it, if you want it to get on radio, get a chorus on it. And I didn't want to kind of compromise the integrity of the message, because I already said I don't need a chorus.
Yeah.
But I felt to myself, you know what? I had not taken advice for so many years of people, and it was like, do you know what? All right, if I'm going to take advice on anything, this is one of my biggest songs right now. Let me take the advice on this one. Let me go with what people are saying. Lo and behold, put the chorus on there. Choice FM started rinsing it in the daytime. 1 Extra was playing the long version. Choice FM was rinsing the chorus version because it's Choice FM. And then I shot a video to... I feel like, and I'm glad I put a chorus on it, because even when I'm performing it, it gives the song a break, and it gives people a chance that love that like melody that I know so much. Melody, when I see you cry. A lot of the girls, and you know what I'm saying? It just gives it that kind of break and that kind of, you know, a different type of connection. So I'm actually glad I put the chorus on it, and I'm able to do that version, because that's the version I perform now. Doing that long version is for the real heads that know that when it came out, that's the one they fell in love with. The chorus version is for the people that accepted it when the chorus was on it, and they're happy to accept that version for whatever reason, you know. So the 2 versions are for 2 different audiences, and I don't really perform the long version, as I said, but when I do get to do a show, like a personal kind of intimate show, that's when I'll do the long version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love. Laid. Bare.
Do you want to wrap that bit for the listeners?
What did I say? One of my friends offered crack to me. Could you believe that could have been my downfall? But I didn't agree.
Can you just go back a bit where you talk about basically the bit where you talk about persevering? You've fallen flat on your knees. You got back up again.
Yeah. My brother went jail. I was trying to bang out a key, ran out of weed, even fell flat on my knees, got off my face, then fell right back on my knees. One of my friends offered crack to me. Could you believe? So that's like one of those situations in the hood where you're young, and like, you know, one of your elders or your big brother that used to look after you or whatever, you know, he goes away for a while, and then you're kind of struggling. You get me? So you're looking for other forms of of that big brother energy. You might try and see that in other people. You get me? So I may be getting help off of one or two elders, you know, to do my thing on the road now. You get me? And also at that time, everyone's going through different experiences. You get me? So like, I to be honest, I did jump into drugs young. Now that I look back at it, like I jumped into drugs young. Get me?
How young was young?
I think I was 14.
Wow.
I think I was 14. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep.
No.
I say I was 14 and I was getting into like selling stuff. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I had got expelled from school by my 3rd year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I started young as well. You get me? Because I was out on the road from young because I wasn't in school and I missed out a year of school. You understand? And I was getting into trouble at school. And now that I look back to put it into context, I feel like I was kind of, because of the fact I didn't grow up with my mum or dad and I did grow up at my grandma's house amongst the other children that were there, it kind of felt like I wasn't placed properly. I don't feel like I was placed properly. Do you get what I'm saying? So therefore, I'm acting out in school and all these kind of things. But at the time, I'm not realizing it. And that's part of this whole, if you can get like a family therapist involved to kind of get everyone to see what's going on.
Can I just high five you?
I'm telling you, man.
Thank you.
Telling you, man. In America, having a therapist is a normal thing. In England, it's shunned upon, or you seem to be going crazy if you got a therapist. And especially the black community, parents will even tell you, are you crazy for going to a therapist?
Yeah.
When you need to go to a therapist if you're starting to feel like you're getting a bit crazy. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like if we had a family therapist at the time, because I remember even they had me seeing a therapist in school. And I remember like coming out of class and I don't even know what they called them at the time.
Sorry. When you were in school, they offered you a therapist?
Yes. Wow. I was seeing someone to deal with my behaviour.
I've never heard of that.
That's what I'm saying. I was seeing someone
then anyway.
to deal with my behaviour. But at the time, I didn't really pre or clock why am I seeing this person? Like, why am I leaving the class seeing this person? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. But now that I'm older, I'm realising, fuck, they had me seeing a therapist. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and I don't know. So, yeah, at the time, just growing up, I realised that I was acting out a lot. The fact that I got expelled from school early, I got suspended 5 times.
Wow.
Before actually getting expelled. So on the 6th time, it was like, he's out of it. Do you get what I'm saying? Got expelled. So now I'm on the road. So I'm experiencing. So basically, I'm on the road when no one my age is on the road. Because everyone's at school.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm walking out. The street is bare. I've got the whole street to myself. Do you get what I'm saying? That I'm walking, I'm just doing anything now. Do you get what I'm saying?
I guess what could your grandma really do? I guess.
Huh?
So what could your grandma really do?
Exactly. You know, I've been expelled. I'm at home. No school didn't want to take me. I tried Hurlingham, school in Fulham. They didn't want to take me. I think we tried Chestnut Grove. They didn't want to take me. Like we tried all the main schools in South. They didn't want to take me.
Did you end up in the Peru?
Yeah. So I ended up in the Peru in the IT. They called it IT then. IT Centre. Yeah, so I ended up in the IT centre, missed a year of school, but even the IT centre started at 10, finished at 1. And it was like 3 days a week or something like that. Do you get what I'm saying? So I kind of got myself into that bad breed category and that category of you're socially almost a burden to society now. Do you get what I'm saying? Because, you know, you're not in the system. Like, now that I think back, that was a funny place mentally to be in, like, do you get what I'm saying?
So young as well.
I didn't understand how to process it because I wasn't it felt like I wasn't accepted by society no more. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I started dabbling early and getting into things. And as I say, everyone's going through different experiences. So by the time I'm talking about that situation in Cry, I'd already been on the road for a while now. Do you get what I'm saying? And everyone's going through different experiences. Yes, one of my friends did start smoking. You get what I'm saying? And there was lots of other people at the time. But this was when we were becoming of age and we were realizing, like, you know, my man was smoking, innit? You know, my man, like some of the elders, like, well, my man smoked, you're crack. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, you're going through that whole funny time, like, you know, amongst your friends and that. So, but it came to a point now where we're coming up under them. We're realizing that, because weed was always a normal thing, but we didn't realize crack was normal at one stage. Like, there was a lot of men bunning food. Do you get what I'm saying? So we're coming to that age now where we're like, rah, you know, people our age group have started dabbling into it now. So yeah, one of my friends, you know, and then there was one time where, the funny thing is, I actually got the food for him. That's what the mad thing was.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because he didn't want to be demonized as a cat.
Cat, right?
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I ended up, man knew I went running. You get me?
Yeah.
And if anything, I was getting off a man that knew that I was doing my own thing with it anyway, and then was able to just, you get me? Yeah, I got someone that wants that. Blah, blah, blah. You get me? Getting it for him, and then went in the block, and you know, he ended up, you know, rolling it, running, and he was like, you get me? And at that time, yeah, so basically I've done the action, for those that are listening, I've done the action of smoking and then him passing me the spliff. And at that time, the road could have turned for me. Because as I said, at that time,
absolutely, yeah.
everyone was dabbling in, do you know what I'm saying? Not everyone, but a lot of key figures were dabbling, like, taking a few tokes or whatever, do you get what I'm saying? And that could have been the turning point for me.
Absolutely.
And as I said, one of my friends offered crack to me. Could you believe that could have been my downfall? But I didn't agree. You get me? I didn't agree with, or I didn't comply to him to getting involved in the smoking at that particular time. Because remember, this is someone that I've bun weed with. We've gone through different drug experiences together. We've shot it together. Do you understand? We've gone through different experiences. So this was just another one of the experiences. Bang. You get me? No. And then boom. So yeah. So to anyone that's listening out there, if you're young, you get me, and one of your friends, you know, choose to offer you something, and because of your emotional connection with them, it can just be another experience that you go through together and you can have fun with together. If it's something that you don't want to do, don't do it. Trust me. Because that's something that I could have done, and that could have been a real turning point for me. And I could have been that guy that was being laughed at on the road, like, my man's a crackhead now. Like, do you get what I'm saying? But no, it didn't happen that way. So easily. There's so many people we know. There's so many people, man. So many, yeah.
Friends, family.
Yeah, exactly. Friends, family, and that's what I'm saying, man. This is why we need the therapy in our families. We need it because a lot of these things, and to take it from a different starting point, like my way of getting into drugs might have been the fact that I got suspended from school and I was acting out because my mum and dad weren't there. Another person's journey could be they were molested in the family. Do you understand? And they had to run away, or they had to get out in the street and from a female perspective, do other things just to get away from that scenario. And then from nowhere, they're on the coke now. And then they get onto crack, then they get onto heroin and whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? No one knows. So when you see someone that is caught up or addicted to drugs, you never know why they're caught up or addicted to that drug, you know? And that's something that also needs to be addressed in the black family. The whole molestation thing. A lot of people, whether it be sisters or aunties or mums, you don't know whether they have been touched by another family member.
I mean, look, I've had a guest on here who spoke about the fact that he was molested by, he's a guy, molested. Well, I've had two men on here who said that they've been molested by women. I haven't had anyone that's come on to say they've been molested by a man yet. But that's another thing we need to also remember, that, you know, I've had conversations with a lot of men over the years, and I don't even know how the conversation comes up. It's like, so how old were you when you lost your virginity? Oh, I was 11, I was 12, I was 13. How old was the girl? Oh, she was 17, she was 8. And it's like, men don't even realise sometimes when they've been abused. Yes,
exactly. You don't. Because it's kind of seen as more normalised for a man to be getting involved in. You're not being taken advantage of because you're male. Whereas if it's a girl,
Yes.
she's being taken advantage of.
And we need to like spin that conversation around.
Definitely.
Because the impact is detrimental. Like sometimes when you see how some men behave towards women, and they don't even realize where this is coming from. Do you understand what I mean? And just to touch on your point on what you were saying about, you know, I always say like, don't judge me based on how I display my trauma. Does that make sense? You might smoke, you might drink too much, you might eat rubbish. Do you understand what I'm saying? We all play out our traumas in different ways, and I think we just have to learn how to be patient and just become a little bit more aware
exactly about human nature and how we kind of display ourselves as a result of, you know, every behavior has some sort of foundation in experience, and it's just about being aware enough and being open and patient enough to try and understand, you know, where that person's coming from when they behave a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And the more we can do that, the better human experience we'll have with each other.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of relationship, in terms of friendships and relationships, whether it be, you know, relationships with family members or friendships with your friend circle or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or relationship as a parent with your child. You know, it impacts every relationship that you have. Whatever you've gone through impacts everyone around you. So the more you can try and I think it's about once you understand yourself more, then you understand others. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you realize your behavior is found in some sort of experiential place from the past. So therefore, obviously theirs is as well. You know, and the more open you become to yourself, the more open you become to others, and a better line of communication or understanding is then, you know, reached. You get me? So yeah, it's very important.
So let's have a chat about your track, Brown Skin Girl. So I'm sure everyone knows the original done by, who's on that track?
Beyonce, Wizkid. A guy called St. John wrote it, and it's also got Blue Ivy Carter on it as well, which is Beyonce and Jay-Z's daughter at the beginning. But I think St. John's not on it, but I think he contributed to the writing, and then Beyonce and Wizkid are, you know, other artists that are on it as well.
So I'm sure, like I said, you must have heard the song, guys, but that song is a celebration of black women, particularly dark-skinned women, which I do really appreciate. Now, so you released, well, you did like a clip in your, like a video clip of your car, like with your own kind of spin to it.
The freestyle,
At that time, did you know you were going to make a track?
Or... I didn't, you know, no, because it was kind of the impact, how it was received. I just done the freestyle, and the thing is, to go back here, I never heard the song. I felt the impact of the song through social media.
I see.
But it wasn't until I was halfway through writing it, because I even found the beat. I was like, what's this, Brown? Well, let me find the beat, because I want to do something to this, because this seems impactful. Again, going back to the fact that I'm always pointing towards some sort of conscious thing when I'm doing my writing. Like I always go in that direction for some reason. But yeah, let me look for this Brown Skin Girl song now. The instrumental, Bam Bam. Found the instrumental. Okay, this beat's alright. It's kind of Afro-y kind of thing. So right into it, I got halfway through my song, through my verse, and I thought to myself, hold on, I haven't even heard the original.
Wow.
Yeah, so I reached a point where I was like, I always like to hear, if I'm writing something that's already been done, or over a freestyle, which is what rappers do all the time. We write over other people's songs. I always like to hear what they've done, so I can kind of, if they've touched on certain subjects, I will continue the conversation in a certain way so that I've added to what they've done, or I can just hear what they've done so I don't go in that direction. So that's basically what I wanted to listen to it for. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have wrote everything without hearing the actual song.
Wow.
So halfway through, I've played the song and I'm like, okay, so this is the song everyone's going mad about. It's alright. It's not crazy. I love the message though. And that's the main thing. But as a song, I'm like, okay, it's cool. You get me? So I've gone back to my song now and I just completed it. Next day, got in my car, threw the beat on, done the freestyle. It got a lot of love back. You get me? And then I thought, you know what? I feel like I want to do something to this. I'll make a song of it. Let me make a song of it. And then the song ended up being a video. And now here we are.
So what are your, I mean, I guess I can assume what your kind of views on colorism and stuff are, but I mean, how has colorism impacted you, would you say, like, you know, growing up?
Yeah, I think colorism started in my home. Do you know what is funny, yeah? I don't like to say rest in peace no more. I say live on in prosperity. But I
love that.
Yeah, live on in prosperity.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because, you know, I believe that no one ever really dies and the spirit always lives on. And wherever they are, I hope they live on in prosperity.
Amen.
So that's what I say now, LOYP. But my grandmother, live on in prosperity, she used to have this saying. She didn't used to say it all the time. But this is another legacy of slavery and racism in Jamaica, and something that is embedded in the culture, because my grandmother is a redskin Jamaican. You get me?
Okay.
Yeah. So she used to have this saying, anything too black no good. You get me?
Okay, where's my grandma? My grandma's picture used to be up here.
Okay.
That's what she used to say.
Is that what she used to say?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so at least you relate to me.
Yes,
At least
yeah.
So my grandma used to say, because even to say it now, it's like, raw. I don't want to give my grandma a negative light. But that is something that is said normal in Jamaica.
Normal.
Anything too black no good. So colorism was something that was very apparent to me from a young age within my family. Because as I said, I grew up with a redskin Jamaican grandmother, but all her children were black.
Okay.
Her husband's black as night. Especially my her last husband, my uncle, black as night. He's a maroon. You get me?
Says my grandma.
There you go. He's a maroon. So he's black as night. You know, maroons are very dark skinned.
Yes.
As your grandma got red palms.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
There you go. All maroons have red palms. So that was very apparent in my household from young. Even though all the men she was attracted to were black, dark skinned black men. And my cousin, he was a mixed race. So he's got my auntie as a black mum, and then his dad was white. You get me? So again, the colorism thing was there, because even he had these little jokes and that. You get me? Which I felt like was subconsciously, not even subconsciously, but inadvertently came from some of my grandma's mentality. You get me? The whole anything too black no good mentality and whatever. You get me? Because he's red skin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, okay, question then. Because obviously, like, I grew up with my grandma, but she didn't raise me, if that makes sense. So some of those comments, you kind of knew what you like or whatever. But so growing up in your grandma's house, and if she's saying that, and then you're looking in the mirror.
Yeah, it was always in the jokey way where she said it, but you knew that it had a kind of, it's something that was a very serious thing in her culture where she grew up. You get me? Because she'd always say it like it was one of those jokes that sting.
Sting, yes.
Where she wouldn't say it all the time, but when you know, say anything too black no good. The kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, where's that come from, grandma? Like kind of thing. So sorry, what was your question again?
Well, I was saying, like, when those words would echo
Yeah,
in
and I
your
look in
ears
the
and
mirror.
you look in the mirror.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so having that on top of the fact that when you look on TV and, you know, because my cousin now used to say, "Oh, you flipping African, man." Like when he used to get not angry but upset sometimes, or you know what I'm saying. So that on top of that, him saying that as well had impacted me because obviously I'm one of the darker skinned younger people in the family, and so seeing, you know, young children on TV with flies in their face and me being called African. I think my association with Africa started from then. Even though history-wise I wasn't really taught that much about Africa, my association with Africa through those slurs that were being thrown at me allowed me to connect with Africa. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, in some sort of funny way. You get me? Even though I knew I weren't from Africa. Well, I know we are from Africa, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Back then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Jamaican, innit? I'm Jamaican house or whatever. So, and then with stuff like roots and, you know, the racism that and then one time on my estate, a white woman called me a black sultana. A big white grandmother.
Sultana, I've not heard that
Black
one before.
sultana. That hurt. Because when she said that, my cousin started laughing. The same cousin. Yeah, do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm definitely black in it. And people definitely don't like me. You get me? You know, there are some people, there's for some reason, the legacy of the colour that I have has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm having to carry that. I have to carry this, you know what I'm saying? So from an early age, I was very aware of my blackness and the fact that people didn't like it, and that, you know, my people have had a hard time in the world. And I guess that has impacted the way how my talent, you know, in music has kind of geared me towards talking about certain topics. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know, I haven't really thought about it like that. Obviously now I'm an adult, I have like in episodically throughout my life, but the more I kind of speak about this with you now, I realize that it has kind of shaped how I am as an artist a lot because of the experiences that I've gone through. And I tend to touch on race issues and kind of because a lot of people have come up to me or spoken to me like, yeah, because you're like, you speak about like deep things, and I'm like, do I don't think I do. But I can see where you're coming from based on crying. But it's like people have categorized me within that thing. Whereas if you listen to all my music, we've put out a few CDs, Cuts and Bruises 1, Cuts and Bruises 2. Pain and Music has got like 20 songs of different styles of music. Yeah. But I guess because Cry was the one that was most impactful, that's where people place me. But anyway, as I say, you know, the experiences I've gone through has allowed me to kind of shape my message into that form anyway. Yeah. You know, and that's mostly but that's a lot what I talk about.
Why is it? Because I mean, I feel like when the colorism conversation comes up, it's always directed at women. It's always...
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? True, and
I don't think it's an issue with men.
But why is it not an issue? Is it because dark-skinned men are...
Do you know what it is?
How have been in for a long time? Because you know, like back in the 90s,
black women were in...
Well, yeah, we were. And then it was like... But I remember like when I was younger, it was like everyone was into light-skinned guys. And then that kind of felt...
Yeah, do you remember that? The Devante days, Genuine days, yeah. Do you know what I mean? The light-skinned guy was in.
And then that kind of fell off. And I feel like since then, it's like dark-skinned men are literally the demigods of the dating pool kind of thing. So is it because, I guess, dark-skinned men are in favour that's why they don't really see it as, they don't really feel like it's an issue? But do you know what my thing is? I feel like colorism bothers me massively anyway, but I think particularly when I see black men perpetuating the stereotype and actually putting down the dark-skinned sisters.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, you're talking about your mum, your sisters, your grandma, your whole
cousins,
family.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how do you not look at...
How do you not make that connection?
Yeah.
How do you not make that connection? And I think that it's become so normalised that connection isn't even apparent because it's so normalised. Do you understand? It's become an everyday thing for you to kind of look at black women as second best. And that's a new thing. Because... Do
you think so?
Yeah, because I feel like, well, relatively new. Because back in the day, man, it was only black women. Like, all the biggest R&B singers were black women.
All the girls in the videos were black women. And
the love interests.
Yeah, the love interests, yeah. And also as well, like, they weren't... I feel like as time went on, they got fairer. But if you look back at, like, some proper, like... early 90s, mid 90s and whatever, even late 90s.
Say some names, because let's make it concrete. Like,
okay, right, so for example, let's think, okay, Jodeci, Freaking You video. The main girl was a dark-skinned woman. Yeah. Just throw me some names.
Even groups as well, though. Like, obviously, you had SWV.
SWV.
You had
Mary J. Blige.
TLC. You had Mary J. Blige. You had Whitney Houston. Even though she was on the lighter side and early in her career, they powdered up her face. She was a dark skin. By the time she got to most of her biggest songs, brown. She was so beautiful. Man.
Yeah.
You had Little Kim. You know, you had just moving up a
Foxy
bit further.
Brown.
Foxy Brown, the Brat.
Yes.
A heavy amount of the main, you know, women, whether it be love interest or main acts, were black women. And then look at, you had Eternal. If you look on the English side of things, you had Eternal.
Yeah.
You had
Michelle Gale.
Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, the black woman's voice was respected. The only person that had the black woman's voice was the black woman.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Until you had people like Mariah Carey coming through, and the Christina Aguilera's now, and then other, but before it was kind of uniquely just black women that were able to, you know, vocalize and bring that sort of energy.
Yeah.
You get me? Even from house.
Yes.
From house music to soul.
Yes.
The black woman's voice is littered all over it, and therefore she has to be represented because, you know what I'm saying? And then as time went along, it just became lighter and lighter, and it came out in the lyrics, and this whole exotic thing of like, if you're from Spain, or if you're from, you know what I'm saying? If you're
Latina.
from Latina, or if you're from the Far East, China, or whatever, you know, and you look a certain way, she's exotic. You get me? And you had people like P Diddy and Jay-Z's and all sorts of different rappers now looking at the exotic woman as the love interest and the fantasy.
And imagine, you know, black women were the exotic women. Do you know what I mean? That's how we were viewed.
Yeah, that's how we were viewed. Yeah.
And then we've now turned that into looking elsewhere. Like, I mean, us being labelled as exotic wasn't a compliment anyway. But it's like, it's now done a 360. So we're no longer the exotic, the other ones are. And now we're in a place and we're like, oh,
yeah, exactly. You know, if her nose is too wide, you know, the hair, and it's all the legacy of slavery.
Absolutely.
It's all the legacy of slavery to racism to colorism. You know what I'm saying? It's all the legacy of that, because it goes back to being too dark, your nose being too wide, your hair not being straight. You get me? All the things that were frowned upon, you know what I'm saying, that were used to put you down, are still the things that are used to put you down and look at you as a second class, you know, citizen or whatever. So, or second class in the beauty world, you know what I'm saying? So and it's, I just feel like, how are we gonna get out of this as well? How are we gonna move away? I feel like now black women are becoming more, and so going back to your question and the whole thing that spurred this conversation, going back to brown skin girls, I feel like with an artist like Beyonce doing that is really good, with the advent of Afro beats as well. When you look at all of the Afro beats videos, you're seeing black women.
Yes.
And the thing is that most of these videos are shot in Africa. So all they have is the black women.
Yeah.
And obviously, rightly so, because that is their love interest.
Yes.
When you look at these fine sisters, when you look at these fine women, you're like, damn, like these women are beautiful.
Listen.
And it goes to show that media is showing us one thing so much. We only see one style of beauty.
Absolutely.
That it has corrupted our minds to even think that black women are not the most beautiful thing in the world.
100%. Like, you only have to, like, I feel like Jamaica's changed probably a lot over the last maybe 10 years or so. But I remember there was a time where it was like, even Ghana. I remember I went to Ghana in 2006, and I remember looking at the women and the girls, and I was just like, everything is stripped back. There's no makeup, there's no hair, there's no nothing, and just them within themselves, beautiful. You know, like, I was so awestruck.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, body's crazy. You know, it's
body's
just like,
crazy. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes it takes for you to kind of go back to where you're from to actually appreciate who you are. Like, I would go to Jamaica and the men would literally be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. But then you don't get that.
You don't get that here. You're not appreciated.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then even the whole big women thing. Yeah. In Jamaica, big women are loved.
Yeah.
You see big women in the tight pom-pom shorts, they're no business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, raw. They're able to be free because they're accepted just the way they are. So they don't see no fault in themselves. Do you understand? Whereas in this country, if you're of a certain size, which black women are big builded anyway. Do you understand? That's our normal thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, in this country, white women generally aren't big builded. So when you get the comparison, and you see that the media is just pushing this one thing all the time, then obviously you're going to look at the other as wrong or as, you know what I'm saying, not desirable.
Yeah.
Because that's all the media is pushing in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when we go back home, you're able to appreciate us for who we are.
Yes.
Because everything's stripped back. Nothing's being inculcated in your mind to make you think a certain way. To make you... And it's all to do with going back to... trying to get you to buy beauty products anyway.
Exactly.
That's all it's geared back to. Do you understand? So
yeah, crazy. So the impact for brown skin girls. Did you write that with the purpose of it being impactful, or did you kind of write it from the heart?
Yeah, from just more of an appreciation, just my own little spin on, speaking about my love for black women, and just a bit of information from my perspective, because I've always done that anyway. As I said, I've always represented blackness, in whatever way I can do in my songs. So it's just an extension of that, of me finding a new way and topic to kind of express that, that love. So I had to tell you something about your brown skin. He gonna tell you you're pretty anytime you're around him. I know society trying to take away that crown, and I just bought you some flowers for you to put your frown in. Do you get what I'm saying? Or for you to put that frown in. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I already know society's treating you a certain way. Society's almost took your crown away.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is my way of giving you back your crown, and letting you know that you still mean the world to me. Do you get what I'm saying? Both of my children's mothers are black. You get me? So, black is what my first choice is. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes even people are scared to say that. It's gotten to the point where it's almost like, do I seem radical if I'm empowering my own race?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because of
Crazy.
all the connotations that's kind of attached to black empowerment. Like, it's almost like, and in comparison to white empowerment, white people do not need to have white power, or they do not need to speak about empowering themselves or beautifying themselves, because it is the standard. They are the standard, so they don't need to. You get me? So at the end of the day, we are the ones that are oppressed. We are the ones that are suppressed. We are the ones whose voices are taken away. We are the ones who are misrepresented. Do you understand? We are the ones that are not represented. We are the ones that don't have enough of our figures in powerful positions in order for us to be able to represent ourselves in the way that we need to be to empower ourselves, and not be saying black power this or, brown skin girls that. Do you get what I'm saying? The reason why we're doing this is because we are powerless. You understand?
That's right.
And we need to fill ourselves up morally in order to be able to face the world or face society, because we're so oppressed and suppressed about our color. And again, which is a legacy of racism, colorism, slavery, and such forth. So it's almost like our present reality is so tied to the past. As much as people will like to turn their heads and neglect the past, or, well, you always bringing up, our whole present day reality is founded upon our past.
Absolutely.
From a white and a black perspective. Do you understand? So, it's something that can't ever be not spoken about. But there is a responsibility that we have, and an accountability to also keep ourselves in the present and be able to move forward without keeping the bitter taste in our mouth.
Yeah.
Do you understand? We can't always be the angry black guy or woman we have to find productive ways to let that energy out, basically. You know, I'm not saying don't be angry. I'm just saying let's try and find more productive ways to try and, you know, let out our frustrations so that we can have more of a positive reality, you know, in our present day, and not always carry the burden of the past in a negative way.
Love. Laid. Bare.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
How do you feel about colorism amongst women? And how do you feel about, I don't want to make this the point, but just to kind of hit it home a bit. I only had dark-skinned women in the brown-skinned girls video. And it was only because when we put the call out, it was the dark-skinned women that were able to make it. Do you get what I'm saying? So the only ones that get represented is more the darker side of the black family. How do you feel about colorism amongst women, and how does it impact you? Especially, again, with the whole idea of the resurgence of Afro beats and Africa and the Black Power and all of that thing, and the faces that tend to get, I guess, the ones that are most affected and oppressed seem to be the darkest. I don't know. I get what I'm going with it. Okay, like, yeah, I'd love to hear your opinion.
Okay, so for example, so it's so interesting because I've watched your video and I only saw myself.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, like, for me personally, I've always been very aware of the whole colorism argument from a very young age. Like, I've mentioned it in my pods before, and I used to have a major problem when people would refer to me by my complexion or say you're light skinned, and I would be like, no, I'm not. I'm just black. Do you understand what I mean? So for me, I think I don't feel like necessarily. I mean, me and my sister had an argument about this because, you know, you have the, you know, I hate saying it, but they talk about light skin privilege and all this kind of stuff. Personally,
is your sister darker than you?
No, we're about. She's darker than me. We're about the same.
So what did you have an argument about?
Well, so she was saying to me, "Do you think you've ever benefited from light skin privilege?" And I was like, "No, because I'm not light skinned." But then, depending on who you're talking to, some people might be like, "Oh, yeah, of course you are." Now, I look at my mum, for example. I'm just pointing to a picture. My mum is very fair. I don't look like that. So for me, I kind of feel like I sit in the middle and I can hear both sides' argument and cry. But if I'm going to be honest, I'm more going to lean on the darker side because I can more empathise with the struggle. They're not saying that light-skinned people don't have their own things, because I've done a podcast on mixed race people, and I had no idea some of the stuff that they went through until I actually sat down and spoke to them.
Exactly.
They also do experience their own kind of colorism issues too.
They do.
You know, and
from both sides.
Right. And I was a little bit, I would say, not ignorant, but I just wasn't aware of their plight because, you know, it seemingly is like, I think it's all good over there. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, going back to your question, I only see myself. So whether a woman is 10 shades darker than me or 10 shades lighter, in every black woman I see myself anyway. So, and because I appreciate that there needs to be more of an emphasis for our darker skinned sisters to feel appreciated and loved, I could never be offended by that because I am you.
You are you, yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? Like, I don't personally see myself as any different. I'm an African Jamaican woman. Do you know what I mean? My grandma is a maroon. Do you know what I mean? It's only due down to pure genetics that I look the way I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, she's just another part of the black family, basically.
Yeah.
Just a lighter skinned version or whatever. Because
did you call me light?
Lighter skinned. I didn't say light skinned, but light. But you're lighter than me. I'm lighter than my brethren William. That's from Ghana. I'm a bit lighter than him. You get me? You're a bit lighter than me. You know? But we're all part of the same family at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have those that are like Nelson Mandela and those that are kind of his complexion from South Africa. You have Igbo, the Igbo from Ghana, Igbo from Ghana, from Nigeria, that are mainly your complexion. Do you get what I'm saying? I know, sorry.
I didn't say anything, guys. Did you hear me say anything?
She gave me a look. No, but it's true. Like, but we have to appreciate that black is multifaceted.
Yeah.
You get me? It's multifaceted, and there are so many different. I remember one of my friends said, "Yeah, my dad used to teach me there's 99 shades of black, or 50 or 99 shades of black. I think it's 99 shades of black." And you have those that are black to their purple.
Yes.
You get me?
And the most beautiful skin.
There you go. Some of the Sudanese.
Yes.
You get me? Black to their, and their skin like, wow.
It's like, honestly.
It's like they're from another planet almost.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you marvel. You get me? And then you can go across the continent to somewhere else. There are people like the Igbo are very more, you know, lighter tone of black. So it's like, you're making me change my language. I'm saying lighter tone of black now. We're lighter tone.
I appreciate that.
Lighter tone of black. So, you know, we are no one, and that's the thing. Even the term black is something that was given to us.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? And this is what we're fighting within this box, within this definition, and that's what's actually causing the problem. Do you understand? It's a problem. Like we none of us are black, really. You get me?
No.
You know, it's a label that's been given to us that benefits society to categorize what is within the structure of it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
And let's keep it 100 as well. No one is really white either.
No one's really white. Do you understand? So
whiteness is another construct.
there you go. They're both constructs. They're both mental constructs. They're both social constructs. So it's like, you know, we have to realize sometimes where the game starts and stops.
Yeah.
And give it up sometimes and just be.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? And just be. You know, not kind of be dictated or associate ourselves with the categories too much to the point where you're just you're doubling down on something that's already false. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Love. Laid. Bare.
Is there anything that you want to talk about?
So yeah, first of all, myself, Ashley, a friend called Darren, or a business partner called Darren, Ashley Waters, and Miguel have started a game development company called Techsperts.
Wow.
We put out a demo probably just over a year ago, which is on iOS and Google Play and iOS. So you can download our game, our demo, Nadaland. Yeah. So the game's called Nadaland, and it's basically like a Flappy Bird, but it's a shoot and flap. So it's kind of a new genre that we created, a flap and shoot. So it's called Nadaland. You can download it now off Google Play or iOS, whether you got iPhone or Android. And yeah, man, enjoy the game. Let me know what you think. And we will be bringing out some other games. We're working on another one at the moment. So that should be out hopefully within the next 2 months. So yeah, we're just continuing to develop games, and that's a new venture that we started, as I said, just over a year ago. So I want to mention that. If anyone loves garage music, you can come down and see me at the Garage Brunch. I do that every Saturday. If you type Garage Brunch into your Google search, you will find it. If you're an old school garage raver, you love garage, come down and enjoy it. Even a new school garage raver as well, as long as you're over 18, can come eat some food. It's a really great concept. Play some games down there and just come and have fun on a Saturday. You said you've been there before, right?
Yeah, I went to the one. It was in Proud.
In Proud, yeah. So yeah, come down to there. What else have I got going on? So yeah, I'm bringing out a project next year. You're gonna get a hip hop project from me next year. So I'm just completing that at the moment. I know it's been a long time coming. So yeah, I'm looking forward to dropping that. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Well, Swiss.
Thank you.
Honestly,
it went so quick. That means I had fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I was just going to tell the listeners, I was so nervous to speak to Swiss, because I was just like, what's he going to be? Even though I kind of felt like I knew what you'd be like, but you've made my job very easy today. Thank you
You're
so
welcome,
much.
man.
And honestly, I really appreciate you taking out your time to kind of sit with me. And I know my listeners are going to absolutely love the talk that we have. We've covered so much. And I literally feel like I could probably have you here for the day, but that wouldn't really be fair,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, we could talk forever. Seriously, man.
But yes, thank you again. I would love to have you back on maybe one day. So
Yes.
we'll see how it goes. And guys, please download, stream, listen. Brown Skin Girls, download the game. Buy the book. Honestly, the book. Well, you guys know me. You know what I'm into. You know what my interests are. And if I'm saying get this book, get the book, because it is still very much. I kind of feel like if you have particularly young people,
Yes,
you
I was
know,
gonna say
sons,
that.
nephews, and that
I was
type of
gonna say
thing.
that.
I mean, if I could read it 10 years ago and found it relatable and it helped, I'm very sure it can help you too. So, Spot the Difference available on Amazon. I believe it's $10.99.
Yeah, $10.99. Yeah.
$10.99. So yeah, download that.
It's even cheaper now, to be honest. You probably get it much cheaper now on Amazon. So yeah.
Okay, well, guys, as always, we've covered a few things. So if you've been affected by anything we've spoken about, as you know, DM me, send me an email, head over to our resources page on the website where there are a list of different support services. I will be updating that very, very shortly. But the main kind of things that we've kind of touched on today, death,
drug abuse,
all that kind of stuff. That stuff is already all there. So yes, I will see you guys next week. I love you, as always, and take care.
Love. Laid.